Mr. Williams was a polite and humble school teacher. He had been teaching for over 20 years, and he still loved his job as much as he did on his first day. He loved teaching his students new things, and he was always patient and kind with them. Mr. Williams was a master of his subject matter. He knew his lessons inside and out, and he was always able to explain them in a clear and concise way. But he was also a humble man. He never bragged about his knowledge or experience. Instead, he always focused on helping his students learn and grow. Mr. Williams was also a very polite man. He always treated his students with respect. He never made fun of them or called them names. Instead, he always used their names and spoke to them in a gentle voice. Mr. Williams' students loved him. They knew that he cared about them and that he wanted them to succeed. They also knew that he was a fair and just teacher. He never played favorites, and he always gave his students the same opportunities. One day, Mr. Williams was teaching his students about the solar system. He was explaining how the planets orbit the sun and how the moon orbits the earth. One of his students, a young boy named David, raised his hand. "Excuse me, Mr. Williams," David said. "But I don't understand why the planets orbit the sun. Why don't they just float off into space?" Mr. Williams smiled. "That's a very good question, David," he said. "The answer is that the planets are held in their orbits by the sun's gravity. Gravity is a force that pulls objects towards each other. The bigger the object, the stronger its gravity." David nodded. "I understand now," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Williams." Mr. Williams continued with his lesson, but he couldn't help but feel happy about David's question. It showed that David was interested in the material and that he was thinking critically. At the end of the lesson, Mr. Williams dismissed his students. David was one of the last students to leave. "Thank you for a great lesson, Mr. Williams," he said. "I really enjoyed learning about the solar system." "You're welcome, David," Mr. Williams said. "I'm always happy to teach you new things." David smiled and walked out of the classroom. Mr. Williams watched him go, and he felt a sense of pride. He knew that he was making a difference in David's life, and that was the greatest reward he could ask for. Mr. Williams' politeness and humility made him a beloved teacher. He was always willing to go the extra mile for his students, and he always treated them with respect. He was a true role model for his students, and he taught them not only about academic subjects, but also about life.